Story 1. I work for an organization that cannot deny your vacation requests as long as you have time available. And I have worked there long enough to accrue between 2 and 3 months of paid time off each year. 2 years ago, I took 7 months off to focus on my mental health, got sober, and started a workout and diet routine. It was one of the best decisions I have ever made. Story 2. I would golf and slow my life down. Then I would likely work a different job for a few months to develop new skills. I am a white-collar worker but would love to learn more about carpentry for home repairs or even as a side job. Getting paid to learn would be great. Story 3. I would get a second full-time job and use the extra income to pay down some bills, make car repairs, and attend to household expenses. Story 4. Travel, get in shape, work on myself, and finally find a therapist. I would attend numerous local events, enjoy drinks, and likely gain weight. Story 5. The straightforward answer is to find a second job and supplement my income. Alternatively, an exciting answer is to get fit, travel the world, and focus on my hobbies. Story 6. I had a similar experience during COVID-19, taking 3 months off at a reduced salary. I practiced for retirement and it was wonderful. I slept in every day, leisurely got up, and made a pot of coffee. I spent time online and started working out, thinking, if only I had more time. Well, now I did. I ate better and less, having eggs at noon and dinner at 5. I was never hungry and consumed significantly fewer calories. I did whatever I wanted in the evenings. It was fantastic. While that routine might become monotonous over the years, that's okay. You can add as many hobbies as you wish. I have plenty. Story 7. Enlist in the reserve and train for a few months. I have always wanted to do that but couldn't afford the time and money. Alternatively, doing some volunteer work in my community would also be nice. Story 8. All the home projects I have been trying to complete, along with some much-needed family time and guitar practice. Sign me up. Story 9. I would get another job and sort out all my debts or even work for a delivery company. Something flexible around my family life. Story 10. I would probably go on a long vacation for about 2 to 3 months with my girlfriend. I would then work a second job for the rest of the time to save more money because expenses are high now and they will likely continue to rise. Story 11. I can answer this because I was fortunate enough to live this life after quitting my job due to burnout. I took 11 months off and didn't have to worry about money other than being less wasteful. I traveled a lot, 3 weeks in Europe, road trip to several national parks, took golf trips with friends, and visited distant family I usually get to see only every few years. I spent my time relaxing and started a garden to grow my own vegetables and herbs. I improved my cooking skills and began taking daily walks. I played a lot of golf and started walking to save money. It was an amazing experience, and I highly recommend anyone considering a career change try to incorporate a sabbatical into their plans. I had saved up all my paid time off, which was paid out, and had additional cash to fund my time off, allowing me to pay myself essentially the same as my previous salary. Story 12. Well, my current salary is 0 and I have an unknown amount of time off already, so I am kind of doing it. Turns out the answer is to look for a new job. Story 13. I will focus on my health and nutrition, prioritize high-quality sleep, and give my girlfriend love and attention when she wants it. Story 14. Deep clean my house, take my children to Disneyland, run every day and possibly train for a marathon. Consider writing a book. Story 15. Well, I still have a mortgage, so I can't go too wild, but I would definitely do lots of day hikes and camping trips. I will probably go to Hawaii for at least a week. Story 16. When I was laid off after 10 years, I took about 6 months before I even started looking for a new job. I felt burnt out. During that time, I didn't do much of anything significant. I went out more and spent time with friends. I relaxed and played a lot of games. I tried to keep my mind off my career and the things that frustrated me about the industry. I mostly wanted to unwind and enjoy my free time. Story 17. I am protesting as much as I can, but it feels ineffective to just call my elected officials to tell them they should not support anything Donald Trump does. We are already doing that. I don't have the time or money to protest when I need to support my family without a paycheck. Story 18. I would spend time biking and hanging out at the beach near my home. I am considering starting a new career in bartending, which I have never done before. I would prefer an evening job, possibly even a late-night shift, as I am not a morning person. The traditional 8 to 5 schedule has never suited me. Although I have managed it my whole life, exploring something different would be beneficial. I would keep myself busy. Story 19. I would immediately quit my job and use the 6 months to learn something new and search for a new job, because saying that I do not like my current job is an understatement. Story 20. Sadly, I would probably end up working somewhere else to try to get ahead on bills and house repairs. Story 21. I traveled, got back into snowboarding, spent time golfing, walking my dog, enjoying quality time with my daughter, and relaxing by the water. I also took plenty of naps. Story 22. Start gambling to potentially double my net worth. I would definitely be in the best shape of my life. Since I don't make that much, I realized that I would be in great shape. Story 23. I had this for 5 months and I was stood down, so I couldn't work in a similar field. I had all these ideas about what I should do, but what I needed was rest, so I took that time. Then I traveled, cleaned out my house, did a lot of volunteer work, caught up with friends, and rested some more. I sorted out my health needs, including smear tests and vaccinations, and walked and did yoga most days. I also cooked more for my family. When I look at photos of myself before and after that time, I appear 5 years younger after 5 months of no paid work. Story 24. I would enjoy a few weeks off and then get a temporary full-time job to secure more income for those 6 months. Story 25. I forgot the name for it, but at my work, I can sign up to receive 80% of my salary for 4 years. In the 5th year, I will receive a lump sum payment for the 20% that was withheld, and I can take a year off. I am considering this option so I can spend a year in Mexico getting to know my birth country. I may work and improve my Spanish. Story 26. I would pick up and go to Nottingham, UK, with some of my friends to attend Warhammer events. I would likely drink and try to meet new people with mixed success. Story 27. My position offers a 6-month sabbatical after 5 years of service. I am nearing 6 years and considering taking mine next year, but being away for that long would stress me out. We are growing at an incredible pace right now, and I want to be hands-on through this phase. I might do it in a couple of years, though. If I do, we would probably take the kids on a big trip all summer long. The downside is that my son, who is 7, would miss baseball, which he would hate. We have considered doing the same thing for a fall semester and homeschooling them on the road if we could coordinate with the school to ensure they would not fall behind. Either way, what I would do is spend a lot of quality time with my kids, one way or another. I also would take the time to get into prime marathon shape. I used to be able to run much faster and much longer, and I would love the free time to properly train for a race. Story 28. Get a second job for 5 months to pay down bills. Take a month off to relax. I am at a point in my life where I do not want to owe anything. I remember seeing a comedian discuss homeless individuals who ask for help because they have nothing. He said, "I do not own the house I live in. I have $100,000 less than you do." This stuck with me. Story 29. Get another job for 6 months, invest the money, and retire a few years early. I just turned those 6 months of freedom into 1 or 2 years. Story 30. Get a second part-time job and put that money directly into my savings. Then enjoy working half as much. Story 31. At the moment, not much is different. I am in the process of saving money for various things, so taking time off just means I would mostly be doing the same activities since I'm not spending money. However, I would certainly go out and do more photography. Story 32. Sleep. Then sleep some more. I would walk every day, play more pickleball, learn an instrument, and spend more time with family. I would finish home projects I have put off for too long. Essentially, I want to enjoy life more rather than coming home tired and burned out every day. Story 33. Take a week to relax, a week to do chores, a week to run errands, and then spend the rest of the time enjoying hobbies and traveling. Having free time during a weekday is better than superpowers from comic books. Story 34. Besides two chicks at the same time? Nothing. I would relax and sit all day. I would do nothing. Story 35. I am about to take this time off to focus on my physical and mental health. I intend to learn to cook more, exercise, resume hobbies like playing the drums, clean the house, and attend every event my children have so I won't miss a thing. I will also likely look for a new job because I am feeling burnt out. Story 36. I was laid off 6 months ago, and with unemployment, it really wasn't bad at all. I spent 2 hours in the morning applying for jobs, then focused on my mental health. I followed a 2-month diet, lifted weights, and took a nap around lunch. After that, I would go for a long walk. It was the best time of my life. I can't wait to retire. By the way, I just started a new job. Story 37. Well, I am a single dad with kids. The real answer is probably not much of anything. But let's imagine for a moment. I think I would hike the Appalachian Trail. I've always wanted to, and I have section hike parts of it, but I would really like to do the whole thing. Story 38. Finish my third book and publish it. Do more gardening. Put some of my personal applications on the Play Store for Android. Start a business. Story 39. Catch up on my education and job search while thoroughly enjoying the rest of my time off. I will not spend as much money on gas or food, so I will likely invest more than I currently do. Story 40. Before this last election, I would say travel to all the places I couldn't during COVID-19. Now I would say move out of this backward country. Story 41. I would spend most of my time on self-care and optimizing processes in my house, organizing and finding new places for things. Story 42. This is my current situation. I am job hunting, hiking, working out, and spending time with friends and family. That's about it. Story 43. I have been working on an animated film since 2018. I have completed about 90% of it, but as my responsibilities at work have increased, it has become increasingly difficult to make progress. I finished about half of it in the first year, and I have been stagnant since then. I would like to finish it, polish it, and share it with the world. I released the trailer 2 years ago, but there has been little progress since then. By the time I finish my 10-hour workday and deal with stress, the last thing I want to do is sit at a computer for another 6 to 7 hours. It has only become more challenging as I have aged and taken on even more responsibilities at work. I fear I will never actually finish it, but at least my boss benefits from the additional work I have taken on. Story 44. I would start working on my game again. My mental health could improve, as it has been deteriorating for years. Story 45. I have started a new job as an aide for a person with a mental disability. It is temporary work with no agreed hours. Unfortunately, I broke my leg before I could work enough hours to qualify for assistance during my recovery. I am also in the process of buying a house, so my finances are restricted. I earn too much to receive help but not enough to cover rent at my current apartment. It is a challenging situation, but I believe it will work out. Story 46. Unfortunately, I have children, so I just couldn't take off and do everything I would like to do at that time. Story 47. My previous employer offered 9 months of full pay, a bonus, and health benefits. It was a golden parachute. Unfortunately, I didn't qualify due to my tenure. Nevertheless, I would have accepted it. I would have taken a month off from work to search for a job while spending quality time with my kids around the house. Story 48. Find a suitable place to live. I dislike my neighborhood, but there wasn't anything else available on short notice when I had to move over 2 years ago. My rent is $850, which is ridiculous. Story 49. Not a thing. I have been looking for work for over a year now. If I had my last salary, I would hire a live-in nanny to take care of everything so my husband and I could load the motorcycles into the camper and drive to a warm coastal destination where we can camp and enjoy the beach for a month. Then, I would complete all the necessary repairs around the house, get a puppy, and install a pool. Story 50. I would start working on all the long-term do-it-yourself projects I do not currently have time for in our fixer-upper house. I would completely clean out my grandpa's shop, install drywall, paint it, and turn it into my role-playing game room, office, and greenhouse for my girlfriend's plants. I would build a fence for my dogs that allows them access to half-our-acre lot, from the back porch to the shop, so they could have indoor and outdoor access whenever they want, including in the role-playing game room and office so they can visit while I work. I would level the floors in the living room, remove the unattractive built-in furniture, and install floor-to-ceiling bookshelves flanking the fireplace. I would also hire someone to fix the fireplace. Every room in the house would be painted, all the windows would be cleaned, and I would repair the gutters and roof on our covered porch, which leaks inside when it rains. I would also remove all the green faux turf my grandpa insisted on using on both the front and back porches and refinish the floors underneath. I would send the dogs to my parents for a weekend to remove the possibly hazardous tile from the basement and paint the floors and walls with mold-resistant primer. I would also dispose of the numerous old paint cans and various chemicals. I would fix some of the hazardous wiring left behind, starting with the unsettling dangling light fixture above our working bulb in the hall closet. I would replace all the outdated wall sconces with new attractive ones. There is more, of course, but those are the biggest tasks that come to mind. Story 51. My current salary? I would look for another job that offers around 20 hours a week, so I can enjoy time off while having enough money to do some projects around the house. Story 52. I would either gain weight and lose money or gain money and lose weight, depending on how my first 2 rounds of golf go at the start. Story 53. It would start out great. I would exercise more, eat better, and work on my personal artwork for the first few weeks. I would probably maintain a decent schedule, similar to a typical workday. However, as time goes on, I would spend more time daydreaming and doing odd projects around the house. 2 weeks before it ends, I would feel anxious and wish that I had been more productive, but I would have enjoyed every second of it because that is true freedom. Story 54. I have plenty of travel opportunities. I'm earning an average wage for my location, and I have no major expenses like rent or a mortgage, so I have a good amount of disposable income. Story 55. Write enough books to avoid returning in 6 months or taking another unfulfilling job for 6 months to reduce my debt significantly. Story 56. Pick up a second job, double my salary for 6 months, pay off all my debt, build my savings, and have some to invest when the market improves. I want to live life in a much easier way than I currently do. Story 57. I genuinely needed Ambien at one point in my life, but now I stay awake for over 30 hours without it, which isn't compatible with modern life. I couldn't care less about it. If I could push a button and not need it, I would. However, I stay awake for an entire day without it, and I don't know how long it would take me to be able to sleep normally after being awake for 12 to 15 hours. Still, I would certainly try for 6 months. Story 58. My job offers a deferred leave that allows you to take a small amount off your salary. After a set amount of time, you receive either 6 or 12 months off with that money paid back to you. I traveled the world for 5 months straight, continuing eastward until I returned home. Story 59. 20 hours of volunteer work per week interspersed with education, hobby time, writing, exercise, and skill building. Story 60. I was laid off in November and received a 6-month severance. I feel too young to retire and too old to start over. I am paying for health insurance as I have 3 children, one of whom is disabled. It has not yet been 6 months since my layoff, and I worry a lot. I search for jobs, but my field is highly specialized, and there are not many opportunities available online. Mostly, I am feeling very bored. Story 61. How I understood it was that I would receive my salary for 6 months while on vacation. I am traveling for half of that time and then likely learning new skills for the other half. Story 62. I might waste it, but I like to think I would accomplish a lot of knitting, organize my house completely, and depending on which 6 months it is, have a large garden with plenty of preserved food. Story 63. I will complete my home projects and then work on my dream project of writing a movie script for a live-action DuckTales movie starring James McAvoy as Scrooge McDuck and Gerard Butler as Flintheart Glomgold, directed by Christopher Nolan. Story 64. I did this mainly because of pain from an injury. The answer was not much due to the pain. Story 65. I had this opportunity, but it was for 3 months, and honestly, I just went out and did things during the workday. Most people work between 9 and 5, so during those hours, I would go for walks, go to the gym, or go to the movies by myself. It was really cathartic. Story 66. I quit my job with no income. I am going to travel and spend time with my family. I am tired of the rat race. I am opting out of it. Story 67. I would create an English as a second language platform to provide free American English and cultural education. Many people could benefit from learning English, as it can help improve their opportunities and lift them out of poverty. Story 68. I would go to the gym more and take several trips to go scuba diving, which is my new favorite hobby. Story 69. I received 6 months of severance from work when I was in my 30s and single. I spent several months traveling on my sailboat. Story 70. Invest my free time and money into my own startup. Alternatively, I can take a second job and invest all the extra income. I would suggest traveling, but I have already traveled extensively. What remains is the dream of owning my own company. Story 71. I have had 6 months off without pay due to stage 5 kidney failure at the age of 41. During this time, I learned Java, Xcode, and how to play the bass guitar. I also work out every day. Story 72. Focus more on university and work on side projects to build my skills. Perhaps apply for internships. Also, I need to get some sleep. I work part-time on weekends and most Fridays, attending university on other days of the week. I have maintained this schedule for the last 1.5 years. I am tired. Story 73. Currently, I am enjoying 5 months of parental leave and I live in the United States. Mostly, I am spending quality time with my 4-month-old. I don't care that I receive a small paycheck, because this is the best benefit of all time. Story 74. Work a second job for 6 months, possibly at my children's school or with a nonprofit that focuses on children. Story 75. I would make various plans about how I would exercise more, eat healthier, and travel. Then I would realize that I had been playing video games for 6 months and needed to get ready for work. Story 76. I had 7 months off due to layoffs with a generous severance package. I enjoy building and plan to add a 1,500 square foot addition to my house. I even created the plans. Story 77. Get in shape and commit to 8 hours of sleep each night. Really savor and enjoy every sip of coffee each morning. I plan to spend a whole month in Italy at some point. Story 78. I will likely stay home as much as possible to save money on gas, as my commute costs me around $300 to $400 a month. I plan to use those savings to travel cheaply to places I haven't visited yet, such as Alaska, Labrador, the Ozarks, and Northern California. I aim to camp as much as possible during these trips to reduce costs and to do as many kayaking trips as I can. Story 79. Go live in the English lakes and explore the Wainwright Fells. There are 214 fells and hills to walk. Enjoy a beer at the pubs in Keswick and the surrounding area to celebrate. It's an amazing part of the world. Story 80. I am currently balancing work, school, and family. Can be overwhelming. Because of this, I only take 2 classes per semester. If I had 6 months off, I could take several classes and complete my degree much sooner. Since it would be summer, I wouldn't have to put my child in daycare, and we could spend quality time together doing fun activities. I could also take the time to finish some of the projects I have been putting off around the house. It would be wonderful to gain that much time back. Story 81. If the 6 months fall during the summer, I will probably stay home. I live in a beautiful vacation town by a lake. If it is during the winter, I would probably move to Central America or Southeast Asia for 3 to 4 months. Story 82. I'd probably take a holiday somewhere nice and then try to save as much of it as I can while spending time with my friends and family. Story 83. Hit the gym and regain control of my health. Complete the projects around my house that have accumulated over the years. Finish my novel. Spend more time with my family and dogs. Story 84. I will go backpacking for a few months, eat mushrooms in the mountains, and find myself. Then I will return and spend the next 4 months with my wife. Story 85. After 6 months, I would lament how I wasted that time doing nothing and wish for one more chance. Story 86. I would spend the time while my children were in school composing music. I would spend the rest of the time with my kids. Story 87. Travel slightly longer trips than normal, but otherwise probably not anything too drastically different from what I do now. I may pick up some form of volunteering or a hobby to keep me occupied. I don't have much tying me down, so I could travel for most of that period, but I probably wouldn't do that if I'm being realistic. Story 88. We only have beaches here, and I love to relax in my swimsuit. I miss the beach and the cocktails. This is probably where I would spend a vacation, but 6 months is too long, and my salary won't cover that much. Could probably cover about 2 weeks. Story 89. I had almost 2 full years off with pay during COVID-19. If I had the chance to do that all over again, I would certainly do things differently. Story 90. I will be on a plane to Ho Chi Minh City tomorrow, renting an apartment there to use it as a base for traveling around Asia for the next year. Story 91. I am looking for a temporary job. I have some debt to pay off, and this sounds like the perfect opportunity. Story 92. Sleep in every day. Go for walks. Take a road trip across the country and stay at all the most unique motels. Story 93. I would relax at home for a month, then take a road trip across the United States for 1 or 2 months. After that, I would probably visit some countries. It would be absolutely amazing, and my salary would allow me to do all of that. Story 94. I would find another job for 6 months, then return to my current position. I would only work 40 hours a week, which would free up time for further education and certifications, as well as allow me to spend more time with my family. Story 95. On the last weekend, I wondered how I spent 5 months and 29 days doing nothing. I was amazed at how proficient I am at wasting a significant amount of time. Story 96. Clean out the garage, visit my parents, and go on a family vacation. I'm doing all that anyway, so I guess I'll spend more time in the garage. Story 97. I would complete all the tasks I have been delaying, spend time painting, and engage in other hobbies, then wait for the next 5 months to pass. Story 98. I have experienced this before. After 25 years at my company, I was offered a year's salary when I retired in exchange for not working for competitors or affecting any of the company's sales activities during that period. What I did was travel around the country visiting friends and family. I put a lot of miles on the car for about 5 months. It was great spending quality time with loved ones without being in a hurry. Played golf, spent more time at the beach, started hiking, and got back into resistance training. My health improved. I lost 40 pounds and began managing my diabetes more effectively. Traveled internationally to places my business had not taken me before, including a river cruise in Europe and visits to various countries in Asia. Spent more time on hobbies, such as playing music and participating in sports. Networked with customers and competitors, letting them know when my 1-year period was up. I started another job shortly after the year ended. By then, due to COVID-19, I couldn't travel as much as I wanted, so I decided to save money instead of sitting at home. This is when I realized that people often say I shouldn't retire because I would be bored. That was not the case. I was never bored during that year. I had all the time I needed to do the things I wanted to do. I would argue that I was just as busy as when I was working, but I was engaged in activities that I wanted to pursue rather than those I had to do. What is keeping me from returning to full retirement is that post-COVID, the health insurance available through the Affordable Care Act marketplace has worsened regarding out-of-network emergency coverage, which is significant for my travel needs. Therefore, I maintain a job until I become eligible for Medicare. The good thing is that my employer allows me to have coverage while working as few as 25 hours per week at a nonprofit organization. I plan to transition to reduced hours within the year so I can maintain healthcare coverage while still having time for the activities I enjoy. Story 99. Get better in ways I couldn't before. I would go to the gym every day, learn how to cook all my meals from scratch, and then focus on becoming as eco-friendly as I can by growing my own vegetables and so on. Story 100. Invest every cent beyond bare expenses, sell my house as quickly as possible, Apply for a series of digital nomad visas in affordable countries for the next few years, and travel. Story 101. I cannot afford to do anything on my days off, so I will go back to work for those 6 months and receive double pay. Story 102. Trade until I can build 6 months of savings. Having that much capital can help create a strong portfolio. Story 103. I cannot do anything enjoyable on my salary, so I would likely focus on decluttering my house and possibly resume streaming games on Twitch, allowing me the time to create content. Story 104. I want to spend as much time as possible with my 4-year-old before he starts preschool in the fall. I aim to improve my skills in painting miniatures and getting in better shape. Story 105. Fly back to New Zealand and fish for 3 weeks. After that, consider doing the same at Henry's Fork in the United States. Story 106. I currently have nothing, and I am on disability after chemotherapy for cancer. I have a mortgage, a wife, and kids, so I still have responsibilities. Story 107. I am a teacher, and I spend my summers biking, having campfires with my wife, going to amusement parks with my children, and bartending at a wonderful Mexican restaurant. I would enjoy doubling those activities. Story 108. My boyfriend and I have between 4 to 6 months off with full salary every year. It gets boring. There is only so much you can do before the fun starts feeling pointless. We both have taken on extra work for 3 months almost every year, just to do something. The additional salary is not quite worth it, but we enjoy our weeks much more while working. Story 109. I am currently in school, and balancing full-time work with full-time studies is challenging for my mental health. However, I need to pay the bills and I want to complete my degree. I work in the field, but it is difficult to advance without it. Story 110. I am working on improving myself physically, mentally, and emotionally. Working in healthcare is exhausting me significantly. Story 111. Travel a bit and catch a few musicals that don't play in my city, then relax at home doing nothing with my dog. I also want to spend as much time cooking as I desire. I really need quality time at home. Story 112. If I were laid off again and received severance like the last 2 times, I would study, focus on professional development, apply for jobs, attend interviews, and work on projects in my workshop and around the house. I would also volunteer with local nonprofits to stay active and travel. Story 113. Is my job still available when I come back? I'm taking a holiday for a bit and may try to take a semester at university to catch up on courses. Story 114. Plan and grow the best balcony garden my apartment has ever seen. Reduce my reading pile and try to bike every day. Story 115. I would just relax and enjoy it. I do not see myself doing anything particularly different except maybe exploring some hobbies to see if anything interests me. Story 116. I would be out on my bike 4 or 5 hours a day. I have put on more weight each winter, and it is getting harder to lose it. I just turned 50 and am nowhere near as active as I should be. However, with spring around the corner, I should be able to get out and start walking 2 or 3 times a day. Story 117. Mostly, I will spend more time writing my stories. I may take some time to visit my family, whom I haven't seen in years. Story 118. I took 2 years off after making enough money to comfortably retire. I traveled to Asia, Europe, and Australia. I visited national parks in America. I fished a lot. I started playing video games again and began homeschooling my child. Ultimately, I got bored and decided to switch careers. Now, I mostly do the same things, but I work from home. Work isn't so bad if you find a career you enjoy and have the comfort of knowing that you will be fine if that job ceases to exist. Story 119. I focused on creating a way to make those 6 months last forever. I know for certain that I would never want to return after such a break. Story 120. I would go back to work so my wife could take time off. She is a teacher and needs the break far more than I do. Story 121. Get a temporary job on the side and improve my financial situation over the next 6 months so that I am comfortable when I return. It may sound sad, but I am not a wealthy individual. If I have this opportunity to get ahead almost for free, I will take advantage of it to make my life easier in the future. Story 122. I would travel and do volunteer work with animal rescue groups in places around the world that need it, and be a bit of a tourist during my free time from volunteering. Story 123. I need a second job because my current salary is insufficient, but I don't have enough time for one at the moment. Story 124. I am currently experiencing this situation. The department at the large firm was sold, and now there is no work until they let us go at the end of the summer. I have been working on various house projects, playing some old video games from my backlog, and spending as much time as possible with my family. I am taking advantage of the free time to help make my wife's life easier when she gets off work. Soon, I will focus on the next role, but I will receive a bonus if I stay through April 1st. Story 125. Oh wow, 6 months off at my current salary of 0? That sounds a lot like right now. But hey, at least this time it would be official, so I could finally stop pretending to be between opportunities. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.